everyone. Welcome to Creative Mornings St. Louis. We're very excited to be here at Venture Cafe. Thank you for coming. This is kind of a new type of event for us because we're not doing it in the mornings, for one. But instead of bringing you one creative speaker, we're actually bringing you 5 super talented, diverse creative speakers to host a panel. And my name is Sam. I'm one of the committee members for St. Louis Creative Mornings. Could we just have everybody who's a committee member stand up really quick? These people are super awesome. They work really hard to host our events every month. So please friend them on Facebook, give them a high five, ask them questions. They're really great. But how many of you have been to a St. Louis Creative Mornings event before? Cool, we got a few. Thanks for coming again. And how many of you know about Creative Mornings, whether it was St. Louis chapter or different chapter? No? Okay, cool. So we get to educate a little bit. Creative Mornings is a global organization that hosts a monthly breakfast lecture series for the creative community. And we have about 180 chapters worldwide. And we work to find a super awesome creative speaker to come and tell their story. We offer the vital morning essentials like coffee, breakfast, coffee. And we provide a platform to help you meet other creative people within the local community. And these people get out of bed, they don't hit snooze. They come in, whether it's in their pajamas or whatnot, and they network with others who are like them. They're passionate about their craft. They want to learn more about other people who are in the creative industry, and they get inspired. And Creative Mornings is all about bringing to you what other people do on a daily basis. So I'm going to pass it over to our panelists here in a second, but I would urge you to stay afterwards and just listen to the Q&A session. And we're also going to introduce our next August event, which you won't want to miss. So without further ado, we'll start with Vu. Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Hey everyone, my name is Vu. I am currently working as a market research analyst for a company called Research and Planning Group in St. Louis. Sorry, so there are a few problems.
No, just louder. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt.
All right, louder. Yeah, so thanks a lot for everybody who come here to have a meeting with Creative Mornings team, and then still remember us coming here. It's great to have you all. When before we came here, we have a topic of sharing some, each of our panelists is sharing a little bit of our experience about how we use creativity as a tool to help with our work and how we had some creative mental block and get our work done in this sort of thing. So when I was sitting here at this panel, it would be a little bit weird because talking about creativity, I don't do filming like Nathan. I don't write like Jess. I don't compose and play music like Rick or design something like Nate. So probably people is going to ask, so what's up with creativity with you? You're not doing any kind of like artistic work. Why do you decide that you're going to work for a creative discipline? Well, there's gonna be some way to talk about that. Last night, before I came here to give this talk, because I was so packed with all of my work this week, I was working as a market research agency, and the job that we is doing is we carry out research so that we can consult, being a strategy consultant for many healthcare research, healthcare organization in the U.S., to be specific organ donation network and hospital system in St. Louis. So that job sounds like it's not very kind of like into the creative discipline. Well, it took me a very long period to reach this point of my life. And why I was here to share about creativity because I did not have time to prepare this talk, but what I did was last night, I got on Oxford Dictionary online and checked what is creative. Creative by the definition of Oxford Online Dictionary as doing something relating to or involving to using imagination or original ideas to create something, to create a product. Well, when I kind of reflect back to my life, I did believe that I was not working in a creative discipline, but I do use creativity as a tool to achieve whatever professional and personal goals that I have in my life. And the fact that I have my very own original ideas and original strategy, whatever you call it, to make myself to move up to this step is going to be called the creative line properly. To give you an idea, this is how children in Vietnam, they went to school, they are expected to wear a uniform. When you were in primary school, secondary school, high school, this is how it looks when you go to high school. All the students going to high school, secondary school, they wear all the same. The reason is Vietnam is a communist country and we value solidarity. So I, grown up as a Vietnamese, I was assuming that I would try my best to perform and fulfill my education to become a kind of good citizen and just probably just have a normal and peaceful life. I grown up as a Vietnamese, but I do not have that kind of thinking in myself. I believe that I should become somebody that was also a Vietnamese, keeping my traditional values, but at the same time doing something different that I can create some kind of influence to other people in my life. So that's the path that I chose, and I call it is the process of creating a product, and the product that I'm meant to be is to become a better version of myself that is hopeful to other people and meaningful to the world or people surrounding me. That's why 22 years old, every older student in my class graduating looking for a job in Washington City, Vietnam. I did not go immediately for a job. Actually, I was immediately after that, but before graduating school, I chose to apply for an international internship. And I was accepted into as a management trainee to work for Singapore Retail Corporation. This Singapore Retail Corporation is going to they sponsor my flight, accommodation, insurance for me to come to live in Singapore, and works as a management trainee for them for about 2 years. And moving on, I tried to use the creative and original idea strategy, which is trying to learn new language, trying to expand my network, trying to expand my knowledge and my experience to create a good professional network in me so that I can back up myself with moving on from a job at the Singaporean Retail Corporation later to become a business development manager for a Japanese corporation to a whole different kind of consumer companies in Southeast Asia. Make my way to have a MBA degree with graduate assistantship in the US and go to work at another company that corporate health organization. And again, I need to wrap it up because time is going up. The main point that I was trying to think was using the original ideas in a way that I have, which is fire in life, using language and networking as a tool to help to build up my life and help me to achieve many professional goals that I have in my life, as well as creating and empowering me to be a better version, which is right now at this point after I graduate, got married and was hoped to get a permanent residency in the US and have a job. I'm trying to do something to give back to my country by founding another nonprofit that would help with education to children in Vietnam. But moreover than that, the journey that I have was a creative life because whatever way that I chose to power my life, it brings me to a whole new world with way more connections, like the friends that I have in my CreativeMornings team, see about some Sam and Joe that we were all here. We work really hard and I learn from them. And it created me a chance and opportunities to come here and meet with different people awesome people, I believe, like this. So that's pretty much. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Nathan Karimi. I'm a filmmaker here in St. Louis, which is why I suppose I was asked here to be among these people. So I'll just tell you a little background about what I did. So my first film was 4 a.m. Well, it wasn't my first, it was just the only, you know, you got to build up. It's the first one that I would ever dare show anyone, because if you're going to get into it, the first 10, 15, 20 are going to be horrendous, so keep going. So 4 a.m., it's a story about, if anyone's familiar with Orson Welles, he did like in 1938, he did a radio broadcast in which he told people that there were aliens landing, so on and so forth. So the film is an 80-year recreation of that. The shock jock, Paul Peterson, he runs a station down south. It's called Wacky Tacky I Know, You Know, Do They Know UFO show. And he basically does a broadcast, and the broadcast goes completely haywire, as you can imagine. So I'll leave the rest to you guys if you want to watch it. So 4 a.m. is one of my films. Recently, I went out to Los Angeles to shoot a pilot for a film that you all may, or for a sitcom rather, that you all may be seeing coming up. We're kind of in the negotiations period right now. It's called Earth Mom. That one is about essentially teenager. I didn't write this one, but I just was asked out there to direct it. So it's about these teenagers that come home to learn that their parents have alien space twins. I'll just leave it at that. You guys may be able to see it here coming shortly. And furthermore, I'm constantly working on things here in St. Louis. So I know that the last 2 weekends were the St. Louis Filmmaker Showcase. Hopefully some of you got an opportunity to come out to it. I didn't have anything in it this year because we're actually in post-production for the newest film, which is Abducted Anonymous. It's essentially a support group for people who were abducted by aliens. It's a dark comedy, so it doesn't get too serious. So that'll be finished sometime around October. We'll be premiering in 2720. And I'm currently in pre-production for a film called Slay the Plague. And I'll leave the synopsis out for a while, and you guys can kind of come out when that's there. So that's pretty much what I do. I live here in St. Louis, and my real creative focus right now, we are starting an organization called Interactive Movie Makers. And the Interactive Movie Makers, I'd ask that if you guys are able to, I'm going to leave a bunch of these over there. It's just a quick survey just to get an idea on how involved everyone wants to be in filmmaking. So we've developed this. There's my beautiful wife back there, Jo Therese. We've developed this organization, and what it is it allows people to come in and get involved in a fully interactive studio system where there's pre-designed sets, and you can come into the room and either pay a membership or you can just kind of pay a pay-to-play type deal. Come in, make your movie, and professionals can either have the professional staff involvement, or you can be involved in it, or you can just come and use our equipment and kind of play around in the room, mess with lighting, whatever it is that you need to do. So that's pretty much what my endeavors have been. Yeah, so if you guys have any interest about that, definitely feel free to come and talk to us. The plan is to launch next summer. And right now, if you want any information, there's an opportunity to leave your phone number and email address on there. I'd be happy to send anyone some more information if you want to get involved, if you want to kind of talk about what a membership looks like and things. So thanks for having me.
How you all doing? My name is Tariq. I am a singer, songwriter, poet. I've been working and performing professionally for 12 years now. And currently, I am a operations manager of a open mic collective here in St. Louis called Miracle Therapy. So I kind of immerse myself in the world of art personally, and when I'm out doing things professionally, also am employed at Jazz St. Louis. I don't know if any of you all have ever heard of that music venue here. If you have not, please go down and check it out. It's one of the better music venues here in St. Louis. So we're supposed to talk about the process of creativity. I can tell you guys off top, there is no structure, at least in my process. There's absolutely no structure that I can give you for like creativity. The only thing that I could really say is to like just be open. Be open to different experiences, different ideas, different perspectives. and allow yourself to also be open within, be open emotionally, mentally. You want to be open physically. You know, sometimes I feel like we forget that everything everything all works in alignment. And so, you know, anytime that we're having anything like a mental block or anything, you might want to just check back in with yourself and see what's going on with you. That's allowing you not to just be your natural self, because that's what I feel creativity. That's all that creativity is just being your natural self. I don't ever really find myself outside of the space of creativity, because everything is like an opportunity for music to be made or anything to be made. I can recall one experience being at the job, and this lady called and she was like, "So hello, my name is your uncle Brittany. Thank you for calling Jazz St. Louis. How may I help you?"
Hello, my name is Mary Babata.
I said, "What's your name?"
Mary
Babata. And I don't know what it was about that, but something about her name is just interesting. I've never heard of her Babata, but it's just something about the way she said it, and it just kind of just picked up. I was like, Mary Babata, like Mary Babata, and it like stuck in my head all day. And I went home, I was like, Mary Babata. Oh man, I got on my keyboard, Mary Babata. And it started just building off of that and building around that, just from that one interaction and just someone just simply telling me their name. And I don't know, I guess in that space I just happened to find myself open enough to receive that and kind of just play with things, whatever that you see. So, you know, yeah, I had like one mental block. One time I found myself saying that I had writer's block, and this poet, I cannot remember her name, but she helped me so much immensely that day. But I was telling her about how I was having problems just writing things out. She told me, just take a look around in the room where you're at and just look at something. What do you see? I believe I saw like a green bottle. So I said I see a green bottle. Okay, well, right, you see a green bottle. Now what else do you see? Oh, I see something else. Okay, well, how can you connect those two things in the room? It's like, oh, I can connect this like this and move this around and try to relate this to that. And eventually the ultimate lesson ended up being, I was finding myself blocked because I was trying to force the creativity to come out of me, instead of just letting it just happen. You know, sometimes you get caught up and you want to say something. Oh, I'm an artist. I'm about to speak about this. I'm riled up about this. And then, you're seeing all these different things, all these different energies, all these different emotions. And then half the time, it's not even, once you get to the paper to write something or get to the piano to compose, it's not even what you're feeling. It has nothing to do with you, but it's about everything else that's around you. You get lost in other people's voices. And, you get like brain fart. It's not going to come out because it's not of you. And so, yeah, always be open to anything that you can see and experience, and also be aware of yourself and what's true to you and what your voice sounds like absent of anything else that's going on around you. And then you find yourself being a creative that people will look to admire for years and years. The people that, Michael Jackson, there's no one like Michael Jackson. There's no one like Prince. It's like a whole different world that they've built up in themselves they present to the world. And so, I don't know if there's time or not. I've kind of been just rambling.
Yeah.
But thank you guys.
Hi, my name is Jess. I'm a recent graduate with my master's degree in both teaching and writing and literature. And I feel like I'm going to echo a lot of what Larry said, because I am also a writer. Not music. I'm not musical at all, but I do write. So I think the most important thing to lay down first, the past 8 years of my life have been mostly academic writing because I've been in school for a very long time. But I do want to make clear that all writing, no matter what it is that you're writing, whether you're writing an academic paper, whether you're writing poetry, novel, whether you're blogging, all writing is creative because, like Vu said, writing is, or being creative is the process of creating something, having some kind of end product. And if that end product is unlike anything else, it's something that you've created, you're being creative. So all writing is creative. So I wanted to say that first. And creativity, again, echoing Larry, does come from openness. So being open to experiences, new ideas, new people is critical to being creative, especially being open to the ones that you're uncomfortable with, the ones that push you outside of your comfort zone. We all know that, stepping outside of your comfort zone, that's how we grow as people, but that's also how you grow creatively. So just being open to things that might make you squirm a little bit or might make you rethink something that you've believed for your whole life pushes you to be creative. And also being open to these new experiences, new ideas. Really, when we write, we can only write about what we know. So whenever you open yourself to having these new experiences, meeting new people, you're broadening the expanse of what you're familiar with, of what you know, so you automatically have more fodder to write from. So just that openness is so critical because it forces you to grow, and it also gives you stuff to write about. So that's very important. And even experiences that we see as like normal, everyday, or even they classify as mundane, can also be something that you can write about if you step back from it and maybe recognize the beauty in that everyday moment. So, for example, I was driving one night to meet a friend, and it was raining, and I was at a stoplight, and the stoplight seemed to take forever, and I was just like sitting there, waiting, looking around, like the thought just popped in my head that the road kind of looks like tar when it's wet. And that ended up being a line in a poem that I still think is one of my favorite poems that I've written. So just that kind of like mundane thought, it kind of looks like this, ended up being something that inspired me to write this poem that I was really proud of. So just seeing kind of the beauty and things that are everyday can also be an inspiration. And again, kind of echoing Larry, you can't force it to happen. You cannot force inspiration. Sometimes it just happens upon you and you have to catch the moment. So recognizing that it can happen anywhere, anytime, coming from anything is also pretty important. Let's see. When I do hit mental blocks and can't write, or I'm going to be a teacher if I can't think of a good lesson plan or anything like that, because that's also something creative that I do. I find that surrounding myself with other like-minded people is incredibly, incredibly helpful. So really the company you keep becomes part of you and becomes part of that creative process. So whether it's other people who are writers, other people who are musicians, other people who code video games, whatever it is that you do creatively, being around those like-minded people can really help. Or even just around people who you like. There's a Billy Joel song called For the Longest Time, and he says something about this woman that he loves. I'm so inspired by you, so even if we break up, you still inspire me. So just people who inspire you, who encourage you, who support you. They don't necessarily have to be in the same field as you, but as long as they're there for you, that community is so, so important, which is why this is a really cool thing, because this is a great way to network and find that community that's really thriving in St. Louis. And probably the most important thing, whenever you find yourself at a mental block or writer's block or whatever you want to call it, is to no matter what, just to keep on writing, keep on creating. Whenever I teach, I have my students do this little activity. It's called free writing. So usually it's preliminary to them writing an essay or whatever. And it's just, just write. Don't think about grammar. Don't think about mechanics. Just write. Get your ideas down. And that usually helps them come up with some really new, really inventive ideas. And the reason for that, what I tell them, is it's like you're quadruple processing it. So you think it, you write it, you see it, you reprocess it. And that kind of redigestion, I guess, of the ideas you have can spark something new. Because you're seeing it on paper and it's making new connections each time you interact with it. So that's a really great way to get past the mental block. And also, if you just keep on writing, even if you write something that you classify as bad, it's still getting those ideas out there. And every now and then, even if you write something you don't like, there's a line in there, probably, that you're like, that's an awesome line. And you can still salvage that and maybe create something from that. So just kind of making sure you're in a healthy environment with the right people who support you, and just kind of keeping in mind that everything and everybody is a source for inspiration is a great way to just stay inspired and stay creative. So just looking for those opportunities, recognizing you can't force it, but you can encourage it. So that's what I think about being creative and getting past those mental blocks.
Hi, I'm Taig. I design women's shoes. So I work for Polaris, or formerly Brown Shoe. And I moved to St. Louis about 3 years ago from New York, which was a huge change. So in New York, there was inspiration pretty much everywhere you stepped in the city. You can go to any museum within walking distance of like my building. I could go across the street to Bryant Park. So moving to St. Louis, it was just a big change for me because there's just not as much as like in a condensed space as there was in New York. But right away I was thrown into like having to be super creative with my brand Naturalizer. We did a whole rebranding. So we really had to focus on figuring out how we were going to make these shoes for a totally different customer. And it takes a lot of research, and I'm in a corporate environment, so my creativity has to be harnessed a little bit differently than if I was just doing something on my own in my free time. I have deadlines to meet, so it's kind of a little bit stressful because I hit those creative blocks. It's usually several times, like within a season of shoes. So basically, part of my job is just a lot of research. I shop, which sounds more fun than it is. I do a lot of research online about what's happening in Europe and in other countries and with other brands. And then, I just have to collect my ideas and I just sketch. And I have to sketch maybe 50 to 70 designs a season, but I usually do like at least 100 to 150 to get down to that, because sometimes your sketches or your ideas, or whether you're writing, they're not always your best ideas when you first start or as you're going along. So you just have to keep cranking them out until you find the ones that inspire you the most, or the idea that you can build off of. And then as far as like creative blocks go, my team and I have some things in place that we try to do whenever we're losing a bit of inspiration. Getting out of our building is like the best thing for us because it's very corporate. It's cubicles and it's conference rooms, and it's not the most inspiring place to be. So we'll get out of our building, go for a walk, we'll do a museum visit. Sometimes we'll go see a movie. Like we did a team afternoon where we went and saw Beauty and the Beast because we knew that like the visuals were so great in the movie and the costumes, and it was just something to inspire us besides like looking through magazines and looking online. So those are some ways that we get through our creative blocks, but it also, I will agree, definitely helps to surround yourself with like-minded people. Outside of my work environment, I have a lot of friends who are in different creative fields. So it helps to hear how my friends who are in marketing deal with things at work, or interior design, or furniture design. So surrounding myself with people who are in a creative field, but even in just different areas, that helps me stay fresh and keeps inspiring me for, new designs and new ideas. So it's just, that's how I get through it.
All right, thank you guys so much. Does anyone have any questions? I do. So I guess we'll ask a question of Nathan.
I know I missed a whole section.
All right. That's okay. I think I missed most of it. So I've recently been watching a lot of the CreativeMornings talks, and one of them kind of described the conditions for creating certain conditions in which you felt more creative or not, and how you would recreate that?
Yeah, so like besides taking a lot of LSD, I think that, no, that's
Now you're on
actually,
camera.
that's, sure, that's actually a joke. I think that, really being in tip-top physical shape, I know you kind of mentioned that, like, even if it's going on a walk or like being in a good emotional state of mind is really the only thing that matters for me. I love coffee shops. My wife and I go to coffee shops pretty frequently. So we live in South City. Mochabee's is really fun, and then Gelateria is really fun. But I don't know how much the environment matters as much as the two things for me is like being with people that will challenge my thoughts. So a hard thing for me, and I think that it's harder for most people than they realize, is overcoming bias, because I think people confuse like, I think people think open-minded is one thing, and it's not. Open-minded is listening to everybody, even though you disagree. Because there are some people that I disagree with massively, but you have to consider them valid people. For example, writing characters. I'm going to have to write like, I mean, Donald Trump exists. I mean, he's a character, and like if I want to write that, I have to value him as a character, so disagree with it, like it or not, you have to like look at people as holistic characters, and that has nothing to do with your question, but I think that those two things, being with good people, particularly people that will challenge your beliefs, and also being in an environment like maybe like after exercise or like after like having coffee, something that's going to stimulate.
Anyone else?
I have a question. So for Nathan and Jess, who also writes, so I also write more like diary, and then ordinary like writing about my own life. But when I just want to write about a novel and have a plan and create characters, I just feel terrible, I start writing and then I feel I cannot keep going, I always can write about myself and my feelings and my thoughts, but when I want to write a story and describe a story of other people and put it on a plan and a structure, it just sucks for me. So how do you deal to create a story for maybe a movie or a novel and then keep going and build those characters?
I think an important part of that, Lyric mentioned it's not structured. So I think just like, I don't know, just keep writing, just get it started.
Maybe using LSD?
And also, if you know the plot, like, write the parts you're excited about. Like, if you're excited about a certain part and feel like there's stuck in like a board around it, just skip ahead and write what you're excited about and build off of that. That's what I do.
So when you want to write a story, do you make a plan for your story, or you just start writing from scratch?
I just kind of start writing and just kind of see what happens. Like, kind of let the characters tell the story to me, and I'm just transcribing it. Just kind of see what happens with it, because I don't know. I feel like having too much structure is restricting. So, kind of starting from scratch, maybe having a very rough idea of where you want to go, but starting from scratch, I feel like is the most productive way of writing something that you'll be really proud of at the end.
That's cool.
You got a question?
I had a question about the zone. So I heard that like when you're going really hard on a creative idea, it helps to take a break every 2 hours. In your opinion, you might have liked to answer, how easy is it to get back into that highly productive zone type energy? And what's your opinion about a 2 hour, taking a break every 2 hours, even if it's like going to the restroom or getting coffee or anything like that? Just sort of breaking up work.
I personally don't take breaks if I don't have to. If I'm like on a creative roll, I just, like, I'll stop to use the bathroom. or get a drink, but like I won't stop and be like, oh, I need a break. It's been 2 hours, or it's been, I need 15 minutes. Like I just like to keep going, and usually for me, I don't even pay attention to how much time is going by.
Has that lasted all day?
It can. Like if I, for example, I'm sketching, I could go all day, and I won't even realize that, oh my God, it's already like 7 o'clock, and I'm still here, and I'm gonna stay for a couple more hours because I'm on a roll. So that's for me personally. Like, I've worked with people who do need to stop, and maybe are a little bit more structured of a schedule, but I just keep going.
Yeah, I'm very much pro ride the wave till you can't anymore. Just like keep going when you realize you're on your 10th cup of coffee, but you can keep going, just keep going. Like it's fine.
Anyone else have thoughts?
I agree. There's actually so probably the story of like our generation. I listened to the podcast, haven't read the book, but there's a book called Flow State. I'd recommend looking at it. I'm sure someone in here has read it, but it's an actual thing that you can get into. It's like a physiological state that your body can develop. It's called Flow State. And, I don't take any of the science part from me, but look at it.
Okay. It's a book?
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah.
Thank you.
Is it difficult, designing things that you don't yourself particularly care for or like, or is that more challenging? I'm sure that it's more challenging being creative with that, and how do you overcome that when it's not something you're passionate about yet you have to design? How do you get creative with those projects?
That's a lot more difficult, and fortunately, like the way that my brand has moved in the last couple of years, I do get to design a lot more of things that I personally like. So that makes it way easier. But when I first started, and still now, there are times when I'm having challenged to do something that I necessarily wouldn't wear or wouldn't buy, and I'm like, ooh, I don't really want to put this out there because I don't want anyone else to buy it either. But it just really goes back to like taking, if I have to design something like a shoe that I'm not really excited about, I will look at the shoes that I am excited about and figure out what elements can I take from that and dumb it down or ugly it up and put it on this other thing so that I do kind of like it, and that usually helps. I'll just revert back to what do I like and how can I just adjust things a little bit so that I'm still kind of excited about it as much as I can be, even though I'm not. I don't really want to do it.
Yes. Do you use like data? What input do you use to be inspired? Like, what data do you use?
I don't really use that much data when it comes to writing for me. If I'm writing an academic paper, which I've been doing for a long time now, I do use certain data, usually not necessarily data, but I will go back to like source texts and things. And some of those are really fun. Like I'm really interested in taboos and transgressions. So there are some really great philosophical works on that I like to look at. I like looking at, Nietzsche, I like Borges. There are lots of really creatively minded philosophers that I go back to. So it's not necessarily data, but it is like a source material. So I think if you're going to work with data or with sources, try and find that thing that is most interesting to you. For me, it's taboos and transgressions and cultural analysis. Some people, my old roommate, she was very, very much into like French feminists and all of that theory, and that was something that really inspired her. She was also a writer. A lot of her poetry had a very feminist lean towards it, and she was a great poet. Just finding that stuff that you're interested in. So, source material, data, if it's something that you find strikes a chord with you, then I would say use that.
Do you use data in your work?
I do use a lot of data in my work as a researcher, but I kind of understand Karen's question more to like, what do you use to inspire you to keep moving on the creative process? And I kind of reflected that to my experience I used to be a writer as well in Vietnamese, and I wrote for a community blog that has about 5,000 audience. Back to 2012 when I was in Singapore, because I was a working expat and I was having a chance to approach new culture and before everything was so new to normal Vietnamese. So some of my friends who were read the community blog in my office actually, they emailed me and asked like, hey, can you write something about Singapore? But I said, you would reach creative blog every once in a while, like my experience at that time. That's the first month that I'd be away from home in a country I don't know anybody. And I was even stressed out because when I came to Singapore, I thought that, whoa, this country is speaking English as the first language. So I should be fine. I was wrong. When I was there, 75% of Singaporeans were made up from Chinese, and 15% of them are Malaysian immigrants. So the Singaporean people speak, every one of them speak in average 3 languages, including English, Mandarin, and Malay or Hokkien, which is a Singaporean dialect. And I was there, and all of my colleagues were Chinese, Singaporean. After work, they talk with each other in Mandarin, and I'm like, what's this going on? Nobody be friendly with me. Nobody wanted to talk to me because I don't know anything about Chinese. I don't really speak Mandarin, and at that time, I cannot generate any blogs for the audience, and although some people would ask me. And I think after a month of being depressed with the culture shock when I was just 22 years old at the time, I don't really know what to do to continue my creative process. And I decided to ask myself a question like, what's the purpose of you being here? What's the purpose of you being here? And what's your goal? And I figured out that my goal was, I just want to enjoy the new experience and I want to share that to my audience. So where are you going to have an experience? If you don't go out, if you don't go with friends, if you don't do things, how the hell do you really think for that to write for people? So I started to ask those questions, and I figured out the answer. Each question that I asked gave me a solution. My question was, I don't have a friend. Then go find a friend. How to get a friend? Then talk to them, but they don't speak English with me. Then what the hell? They speak Mandarin, go learn Mandarin. So the next day I came to the company and I was talking with my colleague and I tried to learn myself first, and I just there make a comment, random comment at the dinner table like, this food is really delicious, and everyone is looking at me like, do you speak Chinese? But you never said. And that's the question, to start a conversation and be honest with them that no, I don't speak, but I would like to learn. That opened up the gate. And I started to have friends because they would like to teach me how to speak the language and the culture, and have friends. They brought me to go around to festivals in Singapore, talking about food, talking about our culture, and I started to have stuff to work with the audience. So I think that's one of the most very obvious creative blog that anybody who's going through the process is going to meet, and I think you should just talk and meet people and learn them.
That kind of goes back to like what you guys were saying, being open-minded. You had to be open-minded to learn a different language. You have to be open-minded to the green bottle that's sitting in the room or the wet tar. And you can get inspiration from anywhere. So that's really awesome. I love that. And then I wanted to touch on kind of what you said too. Being around different disciplines within the creative community can really open up your mind and make you drop your phone. And just give you a different perspective. And that's really what Creative Mornings is all about. It's about the art of design, and it's about the powerful element of creativity and being able to share that, and that's what Creative Mornings is. So we're having an event late August 24th, and it's going to be here. No, where's
CET, the other building of CIC, and there are 3 buildings.
And our featured speaker is Aaron Park of Arch Apparel, so please come and hear him speak. You can find more information on our social media pages and the Creative Mornings website, so please follow us. Stick around if you'd like to ask some more questions, but thank you all so much for coming.